Watch out.
They are.
To the Lieutenant Governor of British Columbia, Royal Salute, Salute!
Okay, do I come up now?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Can't hear. Good evening, everyone. Hello, thank you for joining us. Good evening. My name is Neil Reimer. I'm the Deputy Cabinet Secretary. Welcome to the farewell ceremony for the 30th Lieutenant Governor of British Columbia. To begin, I'd like to acknowledge that we are on the traditional territories of the Lekwungen-speaking peoples, now known as the Esquimalt and Songhees nations. I would now like to ask you to rise as you are able and remain standing for the entrance of the official party. Thank you. Please be seated. And thank you to the Lekwungen traditional dancers for their welcome dance. Today we are gathered to express our profound gratitude to Her Honor, the Honourable Janet Austin, 30th Lieutenant Governor of British Columbia, for her dedication and service for the past 6 years and 8 months. We're honored to have Councillor Norman Gary Sam from the Songhees Nation here today. And at this time, I'm pleased to invite Councillor Sam to deliver a traditional welcome.
Aishka, Siam, Osiam, Sukweliptin, Thanosnes, Aishka, Kwansane, Alakwang Tango, Aishka, Siam, Na Hakulak, Na Hiwas, Siam, in Songhees Nation, Na Osiam, Na Susano, Hiwas, the Kosapsum Nation, Osiam, Na Iquanas Quananga Hela, Na Moksquel. My dear friends, visitors traveling near and far, joining us here today on the traditional territories of the Lekwungen people, the Songhees Nation, and the Esquimalt Nation. I just wanted to express my gratitude to being invited to represent the Songhees Nation and the leadership for having me here today, and acknowledging my leadership in Songhees Nation, my chief, I am representing him here today as an elected councillor for Songhees Nation, but I'm also acknowledging the Esquimalt Nation here, the local territories. I'm thanking the Lekwungen traditional dancers for sharing that traditional welcome song that the Lekwungen used today to honor a welcome, an echo of our past, the songs. And just thanking our Premier for attending this event today, and Her Honor for always demonstrating the deep reconciliation work you have with the local nations by inviting the Lekwungen dancers to be here to share a song and to acknowledge the territories by inviting the local leadership. And I'm thanking you all once again today for this small moment that I could acknowledge the traditional territories of the Lekwungen people, Songhees Nation. Hosiam Haichka.
Thank you very much, Councillor Sam. Now I'd like to invite the Honourable David Eby, Premier of British Columbia, to say a few words.
Thanks, Neil. Thanks, Councillor Sam. Thanks for the welcome to the territory, and thank you to the Lekwungen dancers. I think that when I reflect on the contributions of Janet Austin to the position of LG and in the province of British Columbia, reconciliation and your focus on that was a key piece. And getting ahead of myself, I wanted to tell you a brief anecdote about my day, this job. People ask me, what are you doing today? 9 times out of 10, I'm like, whatever's next in the calendar. I've been thinking about this day, and this morning, I was very conscious of what I'd be doing this evening, so I put on a special pair of socks. Some of you already know where I'm going with this, because you got a special pair of socks too. I've got my McDuff Vice Regal Canine socks on. Now, I do have a nice pair of socks with the BC crest, but I put the dog socks on. And I went to this, I didn't think about the other things that I had to do during the day, and one of them was the Bloomberg Mining Conference gathering, fireside chat. So I'm sitting in kind of a loungy chair, and like when I sit and my legs, so like the socks were right there, and the audience was like right at sock level, and I was mining, investing executives and others, and trying to make a good impression on them about the province, and I'm wearing dog socks. But I explained to them the context, and they understood, and they sent their best wishes, Your Honor.
Left.
Okay, they will be a hot ticket for every new mine opened. Let's get this province moving. It's the spirit of fun, I think, that Janet brought to the office that I'll remember the most of her work. I asked Her Honour just as we were coming in, what were the highlights for you? And she talked about the work that she did, bringing people with different perspectives together to share discussions, and MLAs who are here. I see a number of my colleagues here will know that she brought us together, all the parties, in an informal setting. The most notorious of which was a Barbie movie night, where everybody wore pink. Her Honour, I missed that one. Her Honour has not let me forget that. But it was very memorable for many caucus members, and that spirit of bringing people together to have conversations and be outside of their normal comfort zones and to engage with ideas was a key part of Janet's legacy. And she did it in a spirit of fun, like everyone was dressed in pink. And so that was the fun side. The reconciliation side was another. We were just at the Reconciliation Awards. This was something that was conceived by Stephen Point. He was unable during his term to get the first Reconciliation Awards. But he'd done some of the setup work, and Janet, that was one of her priorities coming in, was to make that happen. I can tell you, like just over a week ago, how important that ceremony was for so many people doing important reconciliation work across the province in a time when that's one of the key pieces of work we have to do as a province. And Your Honour, you really advanced that conversation with that work. Thank you. That wasn't all of Janet's work. One of the pieces that, I have mixed feelings about, to be honest, is the BC Journalism Fellowship. Her Honour has a commitment to ensure British Columbians are better informed, and she thinks that can happen through journalism. So that's, I admire that, regardless of my feelings. I think it's a really important initiative, especially in divided times, to support people that aspire to the profession of journalism, to report on the highs and challenges of government. It's incredibly important work. And so I'm going on too long, but yes, Janet hung around for a long time too. She was here for a good time and a long time, and I think that's an important thing to recognize. She was willing to stay on, and we were very, very glad to have her stay on. I won't be quite as long. The province, to recognize your work, Janet, and your dedication to an informed public that's dialoguing about the hard issues, and your battle against the partisanship and friction and divisions of our time. We're donating $5,000 to the Journalism Fellowship as a thank you for your work. Even though we know it'll probably result in more journalists. The second piece to say thank you is we recognize that you're going to be having a little bit more time. And so a gift of binoculars and 2 bird watching books. I see Minister Farnworth is here, who is a fellow birder and wildlife enthusiast. So a little something to help you pass the time now that we won't be calling on you so regularly. But particularly and specially, there's also a gift for His Honour in there as well, Janet. But we also wanted to formally recognize the place of the Vice-Regal Canine Consort in your administration and in your work. And so to recognize the work of the Vice-Regal Canine Consort, we have proclaimed today Vice-Regal Canine Consort Day in the province of British Columbia. And yes, so just hold that for just one sec. We also have in the box a leash and collar with the official BC tartan for Macduff. Now, the official BC tartan, for those of you who are not as versed as Her Honour, the green is for the forests, the blue is for the ocean, the red is for the maple leaf, the white is for the Pacific dogwood, and we just went out and had a look at the tree that the Speaker was out all night digging up and planting for Her Honour, dogwood tree. And the gold is for the sun, of course, and for the crown as well, which Her Honor represents. So please pat Macduff for us from time to time, and let me present you with the official declaration of Vice Regal Canine Consort Day in British Columbia. Thank you so much, Janet, for all of your work, and I would like to invite you up to make a few remarks.
Thank you so much. Now, do I get this magically to go down again?
It's possible. It's possible. There it is.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. Truth be told, I'm the only lieutenant governor totally upstaged by her dog. He's way more popular on social media than I am. People come to the government house all the time and they think, oh, hello, Your Honor, I've been looking forward to meeting you. And then, where's Macduff? You know. So anyway, but I've adjusted to it very well, and he really has performed well in his role as Vice Regal Canine. So many friends here today. I won't do the whole big list, which we normally do on formal occasions, but as always, I would like to acknowledge the Lekwungen peoples, the Songhees and Esquimalt, and thank them for sharing these lands in peace and friendship. Aitsquaichel, Stelacha, Aikwanis Kwanangahela. Good day, friends. It's great to be among you today, and it really is. You know, I must admit I have ambivalent feelings about moving on, but I've absolutely loved the role, and I've had a fabulous time. And I want to thank Councillor Sam for the gift of a very thoughtful welcome. Appreciate that very much. And also the Lekwungen dancers for their performance this evening as well. Okay. Okay, so with 2024 being the 7th year of my 5-year term, I have for some time been expecting to get the hook. But I couldn't be more delighted with the selection of Wendy Kokia, someone I hold in highest regard, to serve as the 31st Lieutenant Governor of British Columbia. Over the years, Wendy and I have worked together on many economic and community issues, and I can attest that she is among the most hardworking, generous, and compassionate people I've ever known. And I'm very proud to claim her as a close friend. Wendy and her husband Sergio will serve the province exceptionally well, and you will love them just as I do. So many consequential things have happened during my nearly 7 years in office. The global pandemic reshaped our lives, our work, and really the whole world in unexpected ways. The passing of Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II and the coronation of King Charles III has caused us to reflect on the enduring legacy of the Crown in our lives and on our constitutional monarchy and the separation of state and government, which I believe is a stabilizing feature in the governance of our country. We've witnessed the increasing frequency and severity of wildfires, windstorms, and floods that have devastated critical infrastructure and laid waste to farmland and agricultural operations. And there is also the AI revolution that holds so much promise for health, environment, and economy, but only if anchored in a values-based framework that has the well-being of humanity at its core. And then there are the domestic challenges of affordability, of housing, health, and economy, as well as the intensifying geopolitical conflicts, realignments, risks, and security concerns, which are particularly acute in the present moment, and may encompass serious economic threats to Canada and possibly even challenges to our sovereignty. As my term concludes, I find myself reflecting on the enormous privilege of serving as Lieutenant Governor, of traveling the province, awestruck by the enormous beauty of our glorious lands and the rich diversity of our people. I've served as patron to some 108 organizations, presided over multitudinous ceremonies to honor British Columbians in all walks of life, and I've done my best to bring together people of diverse views for thoughtful conversations on some of the most pressing issues of our time. All in all, I should tell you that my speech file includes 4,900 documents, but Jeremy estimates conservatively that I've actually presided over about 2,000 formal events. So, but my I realize in this crowd, that's not such a big deal. So thank you for all that you've done. I have greatly valued the opportunities I've had to engage with all of you on the formal occasions. I've done 7 throne speeches and numerous royal assents. You always seem so happy to see me when I come in for royal assents, but I know it's because it generally means you're getting a bit of a break. And also on the less formal occasions when we've welcomed you to Government House for an evening of camaraderie or individually for a cup of tea and conversation. Despite all the challenges ahead, and they are legion, I leave office with what I hope is a realistic sense of optimism for the future. There are many reasons for this, chief among which is the respect I have for all of you as members of the Legislative Assembly. The role of the Lieutenant Governor has given me a privileged vantage point for observing the tremendous work that each member does for their communities and for our province, and for the goodwill, the good intention, and the good humor that people bring to their roles. I was deeply honored to provide royal assent on the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples Act after it was unanimously adopted in November 2019. We've traveled some distance in the ensuing years. And today, British Columbians are witness to and partners with First Nations throughout BC who are seeking new opportunities to benefit their communities. In doing so, they're addressing a wide range of issues that our province and municipalities are also grappling with. As Indigenous peoples develop their own systems of governance, legal and governance interfaces with other jurisdictions will need to change, and existing institutional structures will be challenged to evolve. Adapting to new ways of working and interacting requires patience and forbearance, and there will be pressure points ahead. Our challenge now is to help British Columbians understand that the work of reconciliation is not only a legal and moral imperative, but a strategic investment in a more prosperous, equitable, and sustainable future for all Canadians. There's much work ahead, but opportunities abound and fill me with optimism. The pandemic years have left us with some persistent challenges that will require our abiding attention, notably issues of mental health that are especially acute among young people. But the pandemic also brought a significant global increase in benevolence and pro-social behaviors, trust-building behaviors that are correlated with happiness and life satisfaction. Although it may seem that this blossoming of trust and care has now passed from view, there is evidence that it still persists at the local and neighborhood level, if not so much at the macro level. We've seen this in the legions of volunteers in all the communities that you represent, and in the greater value we place on community based on a desire for connection, to know our neighbors, and to find a meaningful place in community life. As for pandemic response, we know so much more and can do so much more to forestall future occurrences if we make use of the knowledge that we have gained. I do encourage you to remain vigilant about the need for robust pandemic preparedness supported by science. In a similar way, I believe there's good reason to adopt a more hopeful, unifying narrative around energy, climate, and economy. While we cannot avoid the truth that the past 2 summers have been the worst fire seasons on record, and the climate crisis is full upon us, impacting our communities with unprecedented force, I am hopeful about new technologies that are now achieving economic viability and provide practical reasons for optimism. As you well know, wind, solar, batteries, and storage costs have dropped some 70 to 90% and are now cost competitive or even cheaper than traditional alternatives. There's also the potential of hydrogen, as well as increasing interest among investors in access to clean energy. To have impact, new solutions must be practical, scalable, and fully integrated in the economy in a way that links people's real and valid concerns about jobs and affordability. Then perhaps we can build confidence in outcomes grounded in progress for both climate and economy. Of course, this will not solve everything, and there is much work ahead, but I do believe these new technologies have real transformative potential. Now, I have invoked the word hope in my comments today, but I want to be clear. that hope is not blind optimism or the passive idea that things will simply work out. Rather, it is the active conviction that together, with courage and effort, we can claim the agency and power to make things better. It is the knowledge that the future is not something we passively enter, it is something that we create. And so I offer this anonymous message found on Twitter, passed on to me by a friend, and it is this. Hope is not this delicate, ephemeral thing made of whispers and spiders' webs. It's not. Hope has dirt on her face, blood in her knuckles, the grit of cobblestones in her hair, and just spat out a tooth as she rises for another go. That, friends, is the fight we need to find within ourselves if we want to claim the right to be hopeful in the face of the present moment. The tiny thing with feathers that perches in the soul is not enough, not nearly enough, if you know your Emily Dickinson. Throughout my tenure, I've done my best to uphold our democracy and to defend our democratic conventions and institutions. This, I think, is a key responsibility for a lieutenant governor. But in the current age, the structures of democracy in themselves seem fragile and insufficient. Certainly, there is proof in abundance that even the most seemingly stable of societies can be subject to authoritarian capture. And history confirms for us that democracies can vote themselves into fascism. Clearly, we must defend our democratic structures, but more than that, we must practice and nurture the underlying values that shape and define the society we want. And it is my most fervent wish that Canadians will continue to value and uphold the principles of peace, order, and good government that underpin our democracy. I know absolutely that as you face the challenges ahead, you will hold in your hearts our province and everyone in it, the people who look to you for leadership to help them shape the lives that they want, and to set the tone of robust and respectful debate where solutions can emerge in those spaces of common ground and shared goals. There is great power in this room, and I urge you most fervently to use it with all the conviction of knowing that we do have the power to meet our challenges, to heal our world and ourselves. It's the power of shared vision, of friendship, and of love. Love for our province, our country, for each other, and for all humanity. So I ask you, let hope guide you, let collaboration sustain you, and let the voices of all British Columbians inspire you. Through it all, may you be anchored and sustained by the love and support of your family and friends, and by your consciousness of the trust reposed in you. Finally, I call to your attention Goethe's famous invocation to dream no small dreams, for they have no power to stir the soul. Haitchkasiyam, good day, friends, good evening, friends, and I will miss you.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. And on a personal note, I can't pass up the opportunity to point out for everyone here, apart from bird watching, that your passion and commitment for the performing arts, and in particularly opera, is something that I've very much appreciated sharing with you in your time here.
Absolutely, vice versa. That's great. Thank you, Neil.
Thank you very much. And now I'd like to call on Speaker Designate Raj Shahan to say a few words.
Well, first of all, Councillor Sam, thank you very much for your kind words, for opening this wonderful event, and the Lekwungen dancers as well. It's a wonderful event because we are celebrating a very wonderful person. Not only, like we all call her Honor, the Lieutenant Governor, Janet Austin, but I want to call her my friend. She has touched so many lives for British Columbians during her tenure, and she has been there when people needed guidance and and the support. And you've been there, helping people. It's really a privilege to stand here in front of the Premier and all the esteemed guests to celebrate you. It's a wonderful opportunity for all of us to have you here. We are going to miss you, and we are also going to be looking forward to work with the new LG, Wendy Kokia, but I don't think she's going to have Macduff.
There are dogs in that family.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see. And today, before we came here, the Premier and I dedicated a tree in the Lieutenant Governor's name. That's a tradition that we do here to remind people as the tree grows, her legacy also grows in British Columbia. And she was the longest serving Lieutenant Governor, I guess, in our history. And during her she in office, we have seen all these natural disasters, emergencies, atmospheric rivers, and wildfires and everything. We won't blame you for that. But we hope that you and Macduff have done the prayer to make sure it doesn't happen again. It's important. I really want to say, as you step next into the next chapter, please know that your legacy of service, your friendship, your guidance will be remembered forever. And I know you're going to be doing so many different things to enjoy your, I won't call it a retirement because you won't be retiring. But we are going to miss you. I hope you will watch us when the session starts. And we promise that we won't disappoint you, especially this time. Yeah, I know it's, I just want to conclude by saying on behalf of all British Columbians, my colleagues, the work, the service that you have done to British Columbians is really, really, it's a great honor for us to have you in that office. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Oh, it's rising. That concludes the ceremony for this evening. We invite you to look at the slideshow, which on the walls, which is being displayed, showing some of the memorable moments from Her Honour's time in office, and also to join us for a reception in the lower rotunda over here, and of course to pay your respects to Her Honour during this time that she's here with us. So thank you all, and have a good evening.